Thank you so much for joining me again, guys. Welcome to the channel. My name is Adam, also known as the Plant Power Coach. Today, I'm joined by the very lovely Lauren. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
Thank you so much for joining us again. I don't say this lightly. I don't say this just for the camera, but I truly appreciate your time. And when I reached out to you about this, our the questions that I have lined up for you today, I was super, super excited. So I hope you're excited anyway.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, as you can imagine, we met through Raw Sports, obviously represent, and been following each other for a little while now. You've got your followers, I've got my followers. There may be some sort of mutual Raw Sports people in there as well. But for anyone who doesn't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about you and essentially how we got here today?
Yeah, so I'm Lauren, I'm 24 years old now, and I'm a Welsh heptathlete. So I do 7 track and field events for Wales. I'm also studying to be a doctor. I've got about 11 months left, so coming to the end, hopefully. And I'm also vegan. I've been vegan for 6 years, vegetarian for 9. So I'm huge on like plant-based performance and sustainability in sport. And I do a bit of mental health ambassador stuff as well. That's about it, really.
That's amazing. You've pretty much covered my next part, which is all to do with the relevance of how we talk about fitness, plant-based nutrition, veganism as a philosophical belief. I really want to dive
Yeah.
into the decathlete side of things, just to kind of isolate those sort of three areas that we kind of work on. You're a decathlete. I know what it is, but I know a lot of people kind of get confused by what that means exactly. Tell us a little bit about what your training, your fitness looks like right now. What is it?
Yeah, so the men in our sport do decathlon, the women do heptathlon. So that's
Oh,
seven
okay.
track and field events. And we contest it over 2 days. On the first day, we do the hurdles, high jump, shot put, and 200 meters. And then we go the next day then and do long jump, javelin, and 800 meters. I don't know why I always have to think about it, even though I do it. um, and it's quite funny. I've actually only done a couple of heptathlons. And if we have the time to talk about that, then I'll explain why, the politics, injuries, and stuff. So I'm hoping to really push forward with them now. But yeah, the heptathlon training consists then of doing technical stuff for every one of those events. So you'll have to practice the hurdles, do some throwing, so javelin and shot, and then some jumps per week. And we also do speed work, longer distance running, but typically interval running, like the most I'll do is 1, 2 Ks really.
Mhm.
And then we also have strength, so gym work as well, which I do love.
And I'm assuming the gym work is a lot of conditioning because a lot of people assume that sports athletes or athletics people are just doing the same thing over and over again, which isn't necessarily the
Yeah.
case, right?
Yeah, so at the moment I work in like blocks of 4 to 6 weeks. And we do a big variety in the gyms. We have like a strength day where we do like heavier weights. We then have a power day where we do our clean snatches, a couple of other specific movements, and then we do cardio as well and the general conditioning.
I'm sure a lot of people watching are curious because I am curious myself. What exactly is your best event?
Hmm. I would say it's probably between the long jump and javelin. But I'm actually one of those athletes. I'm not particularly amazing at any of them. I'm more consistent across the board, but then I definitely am considerably better in the long jump and javelin, and I enjoy those two the most, which is probably why I'm
Hmm.
good at them. So, yeah.
A lot of people when I was early in my fitness career, I was a gym bro. And I kind of made fun of I kind of made fun of CrossFitters all the time, but I kind of respect CrossFitters a lot now. And the reason I'm talking
Yeah.
about them is because they seem to be kind of a jack of all trades. Is there some
Yeah.
similarities between CrossFitters and people who do multiple athletic events such as yourself?
Yeah, this is really interesting because my coach will kill me if he hears me say this because he's also kind of had a negative outlook on CrossFitters for years. But there's definitely is a functional element to it. And actually, CrossFit is something I'm like kind of eyeing up now and definitely will go into as I kind of finish my competitive element of my sport with my age. So yeah, it's all about functional fitness, and like you said, like CrossFitters cover a lot of bases, and so do we. So like my training involves like nearly everything, except for some people think I could run marathons. I couldn't do that. If I put my
Um,
mind to it, I could, but
yeah.
not right now.
No, that's great. I love the fact that we've talked a little bit about the sort of fitness side of things, the training. I want to kind of transition that into the nutrition aspect. You're a vegan, you eat plant-based.
Yeah.
Where do you get your protein from?
How do you get, oh my gosh, what a question. Literally, it's in everything. And this is the most frustrating thing. I think there's two elements to this. I think society has created this perception that protein is like the macronutrient that everyone needs. And, everyone's almost overeating protein, but I guess that's another story for another day. And secondly, there is protein in like every food, and it's so easy. And I'm sure yourself, you find the same. It's so easy to get protein. I could have, for example, like a bowl of like brown rice, broccoli, some beans, and tofu, and there's literally easy like 40, 50 grams of protein in there. The exact same as if my friend or family member has got chicken breast and rice. Like it'll be the same. And actually, you'll find that through being vegetarian and vegan, I've learned a lot more about food, and I actually incorporate a lot of different foods and a lot of different proteins into my diet than my friends and family would. So yeah, where do I get my protein? Literally everywhere.
I love that. We've also been very fortunate to have on this channel a lot of people who are into bodybuilding, and I've had a background in bodybuilding. I know it comes like very strict when it comes to counting calories,
Mm.
counting macros. Um, I I'm just making an assumption here. It seems like athletics seem to have a little bit more freedom. Am I right in that assumption, or do you track every aspect of your food?
Yeah, I'll have to be honest. I don't actually track my food. It's definitely a goal of mine to have the time to start really tracking it. Um, and actually, athletics, I think, is one of those sports where nutrition in general, even within the development programs as you come through as an adolescent athlete, there's not much emphasis on nutrition at all. So, unfortunately, at the moment, I think athletes aren't really eating properly. And we do have the freedom. Like, I could, if I wanted to, eat pizzas and chocolate all the time, and my coach wouldn't say anything. Um, I think there's got to be middle ground though. Like when you say the bodybuilding, obviously there's the whole open door to, negative outlets there and eating disorders, and it's very strict, and people create negative outlets with food. Whereas athletics, there is no nutrition goal
Mm.
or understanding. So I think there's got to be a middle ground where we see nutrition or food as fuel, and we use it in the right ways, and people are positive about it. But
Yeah.
right now, no, like I could eat anything.
Is that across the board? Would you say, like, I mean, just from your experience and knowing people, that you tend to be very similar, or
Yeah.
are there very much people who are just kind of counting every grain of rice?
I think it's individual because of the flexibility within athletics. You've
Mm.
got a few who are really on it and they know what they eat and they're in great shape all the time. And then you've got other athletes that don't really think about food. So it's very individualized.
Mm, absolutely. Um, when it comes to, we've spoken fitness, we've spoken nutrition. I was not 100% aware of this until recently, onto one of my more recent posts, that you are vegan, and I just want to touch up on that sort of subject as well. What's your position on veganism?
I love it with every single fiber of my body. And I think anyone who can go vegan should. So I started, yeah, so I turned vegetarian when I was 15, so about nine years ago now. And I did it initially for my love of animals. And I know not everyone has the same opinions or morals when it comes to animals, and that's fine. But then the more I understood it, so I did my first degree in medical sciences, which involved genetics, epigenetics, and I decided to do like nutrition studies within that, to understanding the biochemistry of our bodies. And the more I delved into the biochemistry and the physiology of our body, I understood that actually meat, dairy, eggs are not that good for us, and that protein can be derived from plants, and actually better protein. So I then went vegan, and I then learned about the sustainability element of veganism. So for me, it's at the moment a triple whammy. I'm helping animals, I'm helping the planet, and I'm also helping myself and others around me as a trainee doctor. I'm hoping I can influence and positively inspire people to change their diet. And then on top of that, we understand in medicine basically how the meat and dairy industry are negatively impacting people's health. when it comes to things like antibiotic resistance. And then you come into the cultural aspect of the meat industry, where there's basically they exploit, I'd say, the most vulnerable in society to increase the meat industry's revenue. So there's so much to it, and the more I read around veganism, the more I just think it's incredible and it could change the world. So
That's
that's my stance on it.
that's amazing. You were vegetarian for, you said, I think 9 years. And how long have you been vegan for now?
6 years now. So I was, yeah, vegetarian from the age of about 15 to 18. And then when I went to university and I started studying it more depth, I went vegan, and yeah.
I love that. And I love the fact that it's sort of tied into the sort of three primary things most people go vegan for. It's
Yeah.
like for the health, for, the environment, and then for the animals. Is it safe to say you're vegan for the animals primarily? It sounds like
Yeah,
it.
I
Yeah.
just, oh, I love them. Like I love every single one. I just feel it in my soul. And I remember when I first turned vegetarian at 15, it was because I saw slaughterhouse videos. And I remember initially trying to put in the back of my mind and trying to eat what everyone else eats and eat what I was used to. And I just kept seeing it on my plate, and it didn't sit well within me. And I had such a strong desire not to eat it. And my parents thought, oh, she's just been picky. It's a phase. I have not turned back since. I don't even see it as food. I just, you know, I understand now. I can eat well and thrive off just plants. So why would I eat an animal? So yeah, it's the easiest thing ever, and I love it.
I'm going to kind of skip ahead to one of the questions because this is where we're kind of diving down that rabbit hole now of like how
Yeah.
other people kind of in your life affect your sort of position on veganism. Um, I think we can both agree that we live in a non-vegan world. How do you keep yourself accountable when so many people are trying to fight back?
I just focus on myself. I think same with everything, and I think I can take a lot of qualities that I've learned from sport, from being in academia, that you can't control what others do and think. You can only control yourself. And I think I'm lucky. I have a lot of talent. I can communicate well, and I know I've got a lot going for me. And I think if someone like me can stick to my guns and stick to what I believe in, then I can inspire others. So I used to really get down and not understand when people don't have the same views as me. And of course, I still do. But I just think if you be the change, then, you know, people will start listening. And it's like a slow, long process of change. So yeah, I just keep within myself, and I just know that, I cannot control what others do. I can only control my own actions. So I find it easy, really.
I love that. Um, I've gotten to the point now where I've done so many of these that my questions have gone from pretty mediocre, I'm very new to this, to now kind of getting some more difficult questions, more challenging things
Yeah.
to get through. So you've got me at a really good time, Lauren. I've got some more challenging things to get through.
Oh
Um,
God.
um, you know, as veganism grows, I think, statistically speaking, not just from a population point of view, but potentially from a percentage point of view, it seems to be growing in that direction. Based on the
Mhm.
fact that it's growing, statistically speaking, there are going to be more ex-vegans, unfortunately, which
Yeah.
the I kind of doesn't even make sense what an ex-vegan is. But you know, are there any chances of you becoming one of them?
Absolutely not. I will die on this hill. Like literally, I cannot tell you enough. I feel it in my soul. Like there is no way that I'd eat an animal to survive. Now people ask me, if you're trapped on an island for days on end and you're dying, well, do you know what? I cannot tell you what my survival instinct would do in that situation. People eat each other in that situation. Do you know what I mean? That goes into like really in-depth like psychology. So we're not talking about that. I will not eat animals ever again. Like I know in my soul, in my heart, I'm like die-hard vegan, and I'm gonna stay that way. And I'm hoping it'll only get better the more I learn. So I've got a little plan about how I view my life, and I'm hoping I can use my training as a doctor to do further research on nutrition. And then I want to become a sports doctor and do high performance nutrition. then I'm hoping to go into politics and sustainability around our food system. So everything that I do is going to embody being a vegan or plant-based and trying to inspire people and the community to improve their health through plants. So yeah, I will 100% say never again.
Absolutely. Again, to kind of follow up on that, on the on what I mentioned as well, about the questions being a little bit more challenging. The next part, I don't want you to take the wrong way at all. It is, I want to just kind of point out that potentially we've had many people on this channel who come from activist backgrounds, and their position on veganism is that being vegan alone isn't enough. It's about kind of voicing and doing and standing up. Potentially, someone who like that might view this video as you being a quiet vegan. Would you agree with that, or do you feel that you being out there and being an athlete and speaking to people is your kind of activism, or do you think that you could be more vocal, let's say?
Yeah. No, I'd actually agree with that. I think it's actually somewhere I kind of want to go with my social media and Instagram at the moment is I want to make it more obvious I'm vegan. So I used to have just Welsh athlete in my bio. Then I changed it to plant-based athlete. And then I thought, sod that, I'm vegan. So now I've got vegan athlete in my bio. So I definitely have been in the past a quiet vegan because I've transitioned from, and I don't know if you had this, when I first turned veggie and vegan, I had so much anger in me because I had like so much more knowledge on the systems around me and the food system and how much damage that we do, not to just each other, but to animals and the environment. And none of it made sense. And because I was so like angry, I was very vocal around family and friends. And what I've learned through the years of being vegan is that it's more how you communicate those feelings. And basically, it's almost like a psychology game. So, for example, I will not talk about veganism unless someone asks me. Now, I know that other activists might be like, well, that won't work or you won't reach as many people. But like I said, I think my activism is being the change. So I see me winning a race and winning a medal as activism because I'm a plant-based athlete who's just won a race. And I will be very vocal about the fact I'm plant-based. In terms of speaking to other people about what they eat, I will only speak about it when they ask. Because if you think about it, and this is all in the research and psychology, if someone has asked you, they are open, they are ready to take on information. So there's a lot more chance in that conversation of them taking on board information that you're giving them about veganism, understanding it and taking it forward and making changes. Whereas if you walk into a room and just tell everyone that you think they're wrong, I think it'll only regress the vegan movement and what I view it as being. So I think as a vegan community, we need to be careful about how we communicate because a lot of people don't want to change. The human brain doesn't like change. So we have to be careful in trying to instill change in others. And I think we can do it in a more inspiring way rather than attacking, which is what a lot of general people see the vegan community as. So I'm definitely going forward as a more vocal vegan, but I want to be careful in how I do that. And I want to do it with a bit of education behind me, which is why I want to be a doctor. So I have that bit of a platform, somewhere I get my information from. So yeah, I'm definitely working on it.
No, that's good. And again, as I mentioned to you, like to give you an example, I started off being one of those vegans who was like, I was never going to tell anyone what to eat or what not to. And as you can probably see from my social media, I could be deemed more interruptive or more extreme in some cases, apparently. So, I've gone from being I'm never going to kind of try and change someone to anytime someone brings up the topic. I will not be a yes man. I will challenge them on the topic.
Same. Yeah.
At the same time, I'm very on board with what you've said as well, because if you actually look at my bio, my website, my every aspect of my business, I did not mention the word vegan once. Um, it will be in things like YouTube titles and anything that requires a sort of, let's call it clickbaity kind of approach. But my
Mm.
marketing and everything, I actually don't target. I don't target vegans for starters, but I also don't feel like I have to make up a word for something that should just be a normal part of life. So
Yeah. I
I
agree.
think that's kind of my position. At the same time, I can definitely understand other people's point because we live in a non-vegan world. And
Yeah.
as I mentioned to you, I didn't even know you were vegan, and I would have loved to have known sooner. But then again, I'm a minority as well. So, you're trying to kind of, well, you mentioned the psychology. There's a lot of psychology with marketing because
Yeah.
if you label something as vegan, it's statistically shown to sell less. So
Wow. That's just crazy.
it's absolutely mind blowing to me. So
Yeah.
um, that's a really interesting conversation. I'm going to go even further with the difficult questions. So let's keep going. Do you have any non-vegan friends or family in your life? And if so, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, I'd say all of my friends and family are non-vegan. In fact, they eat so much meat, it doesn't make any sense. And I gotta say, I think my family are my safe space where I do actually get those like intrusive thoughts out. Um, but they don't take well to it. And to be honest, to this day, I do not understand why any of them haven't changed. And it does frustrate me because there are some people, like a minority of people in society, who are unable to change due to and it's a very small minority due to health reasons or logistics or finances and whatnot. And I can understand not everyone's in a position to at least change overnight. But I know my family and I know they are definitely in a position where they're capable of at least trying to change and they don't even try. And I won't lie to you, it does really upset me and frustrate me. I do not understand. They will say they understand my point and they actually agree with me. So then I think, where's your willpower? Where's your soul? I don't understand like why they can just do what they actually disagree with every day, especially my sister. And like they won't mind me saying this. They agree with me. They love animals and they enjoy the food I make them, yet they're still not vegan or at least vegetarian. It doesn't make sense to me. And again, how I deal with it is I just focus on myself and I be that change. And when I can, obviously, I'll make comments. But yeah, it is
Yeah.
gutting.
It's a difficult one as well because if I may bring up the isms, if you've heard of, racism, sexism, for me, vegan is essentially tied into speciesism.
Yeah,
That's essentially
yeah,
what the conversation is. Isn't it fascinating that the vast, vast, vast majority of people that you ask, if you ask them, are you against animal abuse? They're against it.
I'll say
Yet,
yes. Yes.
yet the vast, vast, vast majority of people are paying for it, which is
Mm.
a very interesting, I don't know, psychological, social trait that we have. It's quite
That's
interesting.
stupid.
It's very stupid.
Stupid.
In many ways, it's difficult. Like if you got family or friends, if you had a family or friend, who was a racist, how would you feel about that person? That to me is on par with,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
I find it hard when they say it's a choice. And I'm like, it's not just an individual choice because you're impacting the world negatively. You're not only impacting animals directly, you're impacting the current population's health, you're impacting the future population's health, you're impacting the entire climate. Like, it's not just an
Mm.
individual choice because you like the taste of meat. It's just really frustrating. And I've got to say, it makes dating really hard as well. Because I'm at the point now I'm thinking, I want to date someone vegetarian or vegan, or at least someone, if someone isn't vegetarian or vegan already, it's because they haven't been educated. And then I want them to at least, you know, do in the relationship when I give information, they can take it on board and make changes. And people tell me I can't expect my partner to do that. And I just think, well, and when I do say things like, well, do you want to raise this partner? And they go, no. They're like, oh, but it's different though. And I'm like, it's not. I don't want a partner that doesn't agree with my morals. And I don't find it attractive that they continue to eat dead animals when they know it's negatively impacting everyone around them. It just doesn't make sense.
It's such an interesting topic, and the relationship topic is something that I've been bringing up a lot more into the discussion, which I think is really, really important. Obviously, our
Mm.
discussion today has led us down the athletics track, which has limited our time, but I very much agree with you on, especially the not just the people close to you, because like, having a conversation and then the justification being a choice, and then it's just like,
Mm.
isn't everything that we do a choice? Is that
Yeah.
some sort of weird justification for it.
Yeah.
It's a very strange like it's a very
Yeah.
strange thing to bring up, the fact that it's a choice. And it's just like I'll
Yeah.
bring that up with my family. I was like, well, murder's a choice. And they're like, whoa, 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 don't need to
Exactly.
get
I could run
extreme.
someone over.
Yeah. And then I'm extreme. I'm using your example. You just told me that. You've just told me that I can justify anything with a choice.
Yeah.
So explain that, please.
They don't make any sense.
I so badly want to go down the sort of relationship route, but I do have one really, really difficult question I want to get through.
Oh,
Um,
here we go.
I'm not sure how many videos you've watched of mine, but I've put them in recently. Are vegans better than non-vegans?
I think their choice of being vegan is better, but I think you can also have vegans that make other negative choices in other places. I think everyone's on a sliding scale. And I think even like I'm a better person one day to the next. So I don't think we're linear and I don't think anyone's better than somebody else, but I think their choices can be better. That's what I say. I think my food choices are better, but then I go away a lot. So somebody else who doesn't travel, their travel carbon footprint is less than mine. So they could be better in that sense. So I think we're all on sliding scales.
That's a great answer. I like it. Every single person I've had has had a very different answer,
Is
and
it?
I
I'll have
don't
to
really
listen
think
out.
of it. Yeah, I don't think of it as a kind of right or wrong here.
No.
It does the question does require more nuance to it, which basically the whole point of it is to start a conversation and potentially trigger
Right.
some meat eaters.
It's not hard to do that.
Exactly. If you could only make one statement on why someone should go vegan to create the largest impact, what would it be and why?
Oh, say that again.
So imagine like you're having a conversation with a family or friend, just a person you've just met, maybe someone you're dating,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, they just find out you're vegan, and they say to you, okay, sell me veganism. Like, what's the one thing you would say to them to make the biggest impact on them, not necessarily overnight, but sooner?
Yeah. Well, I just hit them with the triad. I'm like, you can improve not only your own health, but everyone else's health around you, plus make a positive impact on the planet, plus you'll feel better and you're helping animals. Like to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's the easiest thing in the world. And you'll be as happy as I am as well if you're vegan.
And for all the single guys watching out there, keep your eyes peeled. Where where can they find you exactly? Where can the single guys find you? Social
You're finding
media.
me ever at the moment, but the ones I want don't like me back. So there's problems there. We'll get it in the end.
No, that wasn't a rhetorical question. Just for anyone watching, where can they find you? Where can they what's your social media handles? If there's anywhere in particular they can go to watch the Olympics and watch you.
I wish, I wish. No, usually I use Instagram mostly, which is my full name, Lauryn Louise Davey. I'm trying to share more vegan things on there. So.
Amazing. For anyone watching again, I will put everything in the description below. Uh, Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. I truly
Okay,
appreciate your time. I'm going to stop the recording there and I will catch you on the other side.
awesome.
Bye, Lauren. Bye.
Bye.